Good evening, or good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are on the planet, and welcome to another edition of Change My Mind. I spit a topic from my point of view, and I challenge and encourage you, the viewers, to change my mind. And as always, this podcast and others in the Jazzy Groove Rainy Day Podcast family were brought to you by the Power of Five. You like what we're doing? Show your love and support us. And now, on with the podcast. Today's topic is an extension of something we've been talking about on previous podcasts, and that is simply this: we're doomed. We are doomed. I honestly believe we have now passed the point of no return. And unless something happens right now that's going to drastically change how we think and how we act, we're dead men walking. The asteroid is well on its way, and it's going to hit. And it's going to be cataclysmic. It's going to wipe us out. Simple. Simple as. Now, why do I think that way? What made me such a doom and gloomer? I'm going to sum up points I made on other podcasts. And let's start with the most obvious one. Feminism is here to stay. We're not going backwards. That's the first thing right off the bat. Forget all that stuff that you're hearing. Well, if we just did this and we just did that, it ain't happening. You can wish it. You can manifest it all you want, and nothing's going to change because people don't change. So that's right off the bat. Oh, I think that if people just let people do what they're going to do, well, we've done that. How's that going for you? How's that working out? Oh, oh, well, we just got to talk to them a bit better and we got to, okay, we've tried that too. It doesn't move the needle at all. And it doesn't move the needle because for the past 40 to 50 years, women have been conditioned, indoctrinated, programmed to believe that they are the end all be all on the planet. Forget the fact that we're equal, because we're not equal. And we're not equal mainly because women won't let us be equal. They just won't. Forget the points that people like Myron and Walter and Pearl and Donovan and Michael and Rollo and MTR and all those people in the space that try to tell you. Forget all of it. Because women are better than we are. That's what they're being taught now. Feminism has gone into a dangerous new phase. And I'm saying it's dangerous because because it's going to upset the delicate balance that we've struck. And as I've said before, we are partly to blame for that. Why? Because there's always going to be a simp. There's always going to be an enabler. And that's because all men want sex. And they feel if I tell her what she wants to hear, I might get it. So they tell them what they want to hear. They still don't get it because the woman don't want them. They might get pity sex, but you know what pity sex is. You know what it looks like. I'm sure you've had it. You know what it is, and you don't want it. They give it to you to shut you up so that you can fall in line. Now, most women won't do that. They rather just no thank you. And that's fine. No one's telling them they have to do anything, which is something else women like to say and get wrong all the time. And what they say and get wrong all the time is I gave him my number, said he'll leave me alone. To quote Romeo JD and the Boogie Boys, she gave you a number, it was a dollar joke. Dollar joke. That's what she thinks of you. And you can have all the frame, all the money, all the looks, everything going for you, and there still is a chance that you won't get the woman that you want. The difference is we know this and we're okay with it for the most part. Now, there are some people out there that nope, 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 won't do, won't do, gotta push through it. And they get what they get. Sometimes it works, more times than not, it doesn't. Won't stop a guy from trying though. The other part of the puzzle that is forgotten in all the rhetoric and nonsense is the fact that 80% of most women, okay, all right, 80% of women believe 80% of men are unattractive. From a physical standpoint, from a financial standpoint, they are ugly. They don't have it going on. Flip side of that, most men will smash most women. There's a reason for the saying, did you get lucky? Because having sex these days is luck more than anything else. You got to have frame, you got to have confidence, you got to have charisma, um, you have to have comedic timing. You have to have looks, but you also have to have luck. How many times have you heard the fact where a girl's feeling it, but she's just not in the mood? She's vibing with you, but you're not getting none. And that in itself is something because, as my wife once told me, women know within the first 5 minutes if they're going to sex you that night or not. I'm going to let that sink in for a minute. Women know within the first 5 minutes whether or not they're going to have sex with you that night. And that's the vibe, which is a really nice way of saying everything meshes just right. I'm enjoying his time. I'm enjoying the conversation. I'm enjoying the way he makes me feel. I'll let him have some. And that happens within the first 5 minutes. Flip side of that, a guy will basically know in the first minute if she's a worthy candidate for sex. Hence the popular phrase, she looked good, then she opened her mouth and ruined everything. Now, granted, you got to be pretty messed up for that to happen. And yet, it does happen. We're going to get into a video right about now. Shout out to Fresh and Fit and everybody over there at the podcast. They're going to be doing a call-in show. And there's going to be a guy in there who's calling in that's going to have a bunch of things he wants to talk about. Let's see how they deal with it. And then we're also going to talk about whether there's any truth or not to what he's saying. Let's go. Wait a minute. We're having problems with this now.
I'm not like I don't got a Reddit account, but I do be in the Reddit like from here and then.
Uh-huh.
Just to see what's going on in there. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, no worries.
But I got a couple points that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Like,
what's your start with your biggest criticism then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Start with your biggest criticism. Go ahead.
All right, so Myron, like when you talk to the girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that they always say that it's the way you say it and not what you say, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you try to if you're trying to get through to them, why don't you change the way you speak?
Okay, let's get right into it. The caller is upset that Myron disregards what the women think about the tone. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. AKA the tone police. They're trying to police you. They were doing one of the four components of Kevin Samuels. Rest in peace, my brother. Shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. Shame on you. How dare you talk to me that way? How dare you? Now I'm gonna let Myron answer that himself. But I got a few nuggets of wisdom to impart as well. And the first one is this. If I told you 1 plus 1 is 2, and then I turned around and said, flipping 1 plus bleeding 1 is mother frickin' 2. Does that change the fact that 1 plus 1 is 2? No. No, it doesn't. One way was nice, one way was not so nice. But it doesn't change the facts. The real truth of the matter is women can't handle the truth. Not for the most part. No, again. I'm saying it doesn't apply to everybody. But it does apply to the majority of women. There are women out there that can take the truth, that will sit there, listen to you, and will actually apply a constructive criticism that you may have. That does happen, but it doesn't happen enough to make it statistically viable. It just doesn't. And more importantly, women as a whole have a point of contention when you tell them something that in their heart of hearts know is true. Excuse me. Deep down in your heart, at the end of the day, when the lights are off and it's you by yourself, you know it's true. But you can't let them know that. Never mind why, because the why never makes any sense. But you can't let them know that, so there's got to be some pushback. There has to be. But you can only push back with so much before the person on the other end of it begins their own pushback. And that's when things start happening. I've been watching Fresh and Fit, or I watched it on and off for the first year or so. For the last year to year and a half, I've been watching them regularly. And I'll be the first to tell you that in the beginning, Myron had no filter. Myron wouldn't give an eighth of a fuck how somebody felt. He'd tell you something, if you don't like it, okay, bye. He's come a long way in his dealings with women. And from the face of things, you really can't blame him because there's only so much stuff you can take before you go, oh, shut up. Just shut up. There's only so much you can take. But he's gone above and beyond. And he does this like everybody else in the space do it. He does it because he wants to see men succeed. I believe him when he says it. I believe Walter when he says it. I believe Pearl when she says it. I believe Donovan Sharp when he says it. I believe Coach Greg Adams when he says it. I believe Michael Sartain when he says it. Because why would you even want to go through the nonsense? There was one episode of Fresh and Fit where the girl and Myron were arguing back and forth, and the other girl on the panel goes, I don't know how you deal with this. She says it, and she's female. She can see the level of stupidity and delusion that goes on. And she is female. Now, I watch a lot of content to get ideas for my show. Sometimes I get it from there. Sometimes I'll get it while at work just thinking about things, and I do drop my head and I'll jot it down and send it to myself, email it to myself really quickly. But I also am of the camp that I do this because I care. It'd be so much easier to turn off the camera and just do what I gotta do. So much easier. But I do this because I honestly believe that I'm one more voice in the dark, but maybe the one voice that may get someone to listen. That's why I do what I do. But enough of that. Let's get back into it.
Because you seem to be getting angry when they can't understand the things you say. Because you're saying a certain way, and then you get mad and you call them stupid and all this shit because they're in their feelings. So why don't you try to like change the way you speak or the words you say so that they can understand it better?
Well, typically, if you watch a full length show, I'm pretty patient in the beginning, and I try to explain concepts to them, but they either A, refuse to accept it, or B, try to discredit what I'm saying, oh, it's not true, blah, 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 or that's your truth, or they say some other, something else to try to say what I'm saying isn't true. So
That's just not true. I disagree with that. And what are they disagreeing to? He could say something like, men are biologically superior to women. Now, there's data, there are statistics, there are stats, there are polls to bolster that belief. And it becomes a fact. It is a fact that a bunch of high school boys can beat professional um, sports women. That's a fact. I challenge you to watch a WNBA game and tell me that five guys off the street couldn't beat them in a pickup game. And laugh as they did it. I'll go so far as to say that the bench warmers on a 5-on-5 pickup game can beat a bunch of WNBA superstars or so-called superstars. And laugh as they did it. But a woman will hear that and I don't think that's true. Then you get the or or whatever look that Myron decides to give at the time, like what? And then he'll challenge you. Why? What am I saying that you don't believe? And then you get word salad. They'll go all around the houses to tell you something that you weren't even just discussing in the beginning. Because women have mastered the art of deflection. They've mastered it. And again, we only have ourselves to blame because we did it first. They're just parroting what they've learned. It's true when you hear the general saying, people saying that nobody's a narcissist. Or not nobody, but okay, in this case, women are not considered narcissists, but they do have narcissistic traits. And it's not that big a jump to go from narcissistic traits to being a full blown narcissist. It's not that big a leap. Women jump back and forth on that on a daily basis. Why? Because they have to be right and they have to prove that they're superior and that what they say is right and what we say is wrong. Conveniently omitting the part that makes them look foolish because it doesn't fit their worldview. Going back to divorce, 80% of women initiates the divorce, which means 80% of women get up and go, okay, I can't take this anymore. I want a divorce. I'm gonna get the ball rolling. I've heard women say, well, we do it because if we wait for the men, it'll never happen. True, because as far as the man is concerned, nothing's wrong. Nothing. This came out of left field. You want to what? Why? And by that time, it's too late. Matter of fact, women tend to check out of a relationship 6 to 8 months before it actually ends. If you don't catch the warning signs in the first month or so, it's done. It's a wrap. Because then they're trying to figure out a reason how to end it. They want to end it. They just have to figure out how to end it. And so women go, screw it. I'll have an affair with somebody. I'll force the issue. And the person they have an affair with is the person that will ultimately replace you. A beta. Because an alpha is not going to chase you. A sigma is not going to chase you. And although I know that there are people that don't like that terminology, let's face it, there's sigmas, there's alphas, and there are betas. That's the top three. Sigmas and alphas are identical up to the point where a sigma will just doesn't need anything. You guys want to do something? Go ahead. I know it's not going to work, but you can go ahead and do it. Now, if you need guidance, I'll be more than happy to step in and guide you, but I'm not going to just up and take it over. You guys got it. Keep on. I'm happy for you. Let's get back into it.
Or to discredit the information. So I'm always pretty calm in the beginning. I mean, if you watch the last episode, man, I was fucking super calm, especially with that girl trying the show, etc.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, I want to kind of let you guys know is keep in mind, right, when we do the podcast, before the show starts, we take about 45 minutes or so to get everything set up. A lot of the times, bro, like the girls are problematic before the show even starts off camera that you guys might not see, right? Sometimes you guys might see it on Locals or whatever.
Castle Club, yeah.
Or Castle Club. But the reality is that I try to be extremely patient in the beginning, and then the girls don't get it, and I'm just like, you know what, man, fuck this shit. You're an idiot, because sometimes you got to just tell people that they're idiots. But I get your perspective, but a lot of times the girls are not going to get it, dude.
They were problematic last.
He explained very well why he does what he does, and I can find no fault in his logic. There's no flaw in his argument. I get it. Let's see if the caller gets it.
Well, don't you think calling him an idiot or calling him retarded and shit like that, that's kind of counterproductive? Because all you're doing is making them upset, and then you're going to make it worse by doing that.
Nope. He didn't get it. Because his very next statement was, well, don't you think that saying that they're wrong and everything else will be counterproductive? Women are going to be counterproductive regardless, especially on a show like Fresh and Fit After Hours. They ply them with alcohol. Why do they ply them with alcohol? Because loose lips sink ships. They're more inclined to speak their truth. if they're inebriated. The guards come down. They get comfortable. And that's another reason why a lot of girls get indignant on that show, because they're comfortable. They look at Myron and they look at Walter and they say, oh, they're just friends. We're just on a podcast. We're not even on a podcast now. We're just talking. No, you're not just talking. You're on a podcast. And shout out to my sister podcast, How to Survive a Podcast. There's etiquette. There are rules you must take, rules you must adhere to. And if How to Survive a Podcast was a test, and they had to filter through that test to get on a podcast like Fresh and Fit, 90% of the women would fail. 90%. So for every 10 women that want to get on the show, one would make it. The rest would crash out. Because the rest of them, they got an attitude problem. They've got authority problem. They tend to be overly masculine. Things like that. And then they wonder, where are all the good men? They're staying away from you. That's where they're doing. They're staying away from you. Because women tend to forget that while they are the gatekeepers to sex, we are the gatekeepers to relationships. And while they have no problem attracting a man for sex, they tend to have a big problem holding on to that man after sex. They tend to conflate it. I had sex with him, therefore, yeah, he's mine. I'm in his league. I'm in his ballpark, and everything's great. No. Because while you have your games you play, we have ours. And we have two buckets we put people into. The good time bucket and the potential relationship bucket. You have friend zone, we have sex zone. And there's no barrier to entry to the sex zone. But while you'll tell us we're not getting with y'all, you'll never know from us. I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's bad. But in this instance, it's fair. Because turnabout is fair play. It's right. Because we should be able to do what you do. It's just. It's proper. I'm following the rules of the game. So we curb you silently. You curb us boisterously. You can tell when a woman doesn't want a guy. No, thank you. 50, or I have a boyfriend. I'm not interested. sorry. That's the nice way. All the way to, oh, ew, you ugly. Get away from me. And I've heard women do that too. Guys, on the other hand, okay, I'm going to sex her. I'm going to sex her. I'm not going to give her anything. I'm not going to elevate her status. I'm not going to do so to my friends, let alone my family. I'm going to hit it and quit. And if it's particularly good, I'm going to hit it and quit until I replace her. Then I'll just ghost. Now, on the surface, that's not right, that's not fair, that's not just, that's not kind. But that's what you do to us. Turnabout is fair play. And if you do it to us, we retain the right to do it to you. I'll be right back. That lady's going to do tomorrow. So that we're probably leftovers. I made chicken stuff. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's get back into it.
At that point, they
Because,
never
you know,
wanted to. Well,
like,
you got to remember, bro.
As soon as you insult them, but it doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah, but they were never going to take the information in the first place.
Yeah, so why don't you try to just like move on, you know, instead of like keep pressing them about it?
I've been
Because
working
I
on it.
feel like that really hurts the quality
We've
of the show,
been pretty good at
you were
transitioning.
talking to this one girl. No, because you were talking to this one girl on the last show, and you just like the one girl that could barely speak English. I forget which girl, but she was like singing on your side, and you kept talking to her for the majority of the show, and a lot of the girls didn't get to speak because
Which
you
one?
kept pressing that one girl.
Which one?
And you know, responding to her like.
Canada.
Who are you talking about?
But it's the one that couldn't speak. I think she was Cuban or something. Like
French.
Oh, the
you
French
spend
girl.
the most time
Canadian.
talking
From
to her,
Montreal?
bro. Like, she was on your side.
Montreal.
From Montreal?
Bro, you said you watched that episode, right?
Bro, I forgot where she's from.
Okay,
I forgot what she.
the French
where she's
Canadian,
from, but it
the
was
French
the one
Canadian
on
from
your
the last
side.
show.
That's what he means, yeah. Just Cuban.
Yeah, the French girl. Yeah, the French girl.
I like how the fact that you're conveniently leaving out the fact that she ad-libbed every single thing every other girl said, and she kept interrupting and interjecting with her points. Did you forget that part?
No, but there was like a specific part though where you just kept pressing her, like you kept.
He just gave her receipts. You conveniently forgot the part where she was constantly talking out of pocket. That's why she ultimately got kicked. And I'll be right back. I got to go one more time. Sorry about that.
Kept going back and forth with her, and it was like, y'all wasn't getting nowhere. Y'all was going in
Yeah, but
circles.
bro,
Y'all
that
just,
was like,
like
2 hours.
obviously
That
she
was 2
wasn't
hours
gonna
of her being.
agree with you, but you kept pressing.
Bro, that was like her after 2 hours of being annoying and giving ad libs every 2 seconds and interjecting her life story about why she got kicked out of school and how it's so hard. Like she had been doing that for a while, man.
But caller, you're forgetting who the show is for. It's for you guys, not for them. I mean, obviously speaking, they can benefit too, but if they don't want to
They don't give a
to the
shit.
show or respect the show, then
Half the girls
it's what
come
it
on
is.
and they don't even know what the show is, dude. They don't give a
That's very true. They're on the show for clout. Let's keep it a buck. They're on the show for clout. What can the show do for me? It'll get me out there and drive up my likes, giving me more attention and making my life better off. And if I can zing them in the process, so be it. That's a bonus. Now, I honestly believe that most of the women that go on that show, they know what it is. They've watched enough clips to know, if not actual shows, they've watched enough clips to know that mind and fresh know what they're talking about. And they have the facts, the data, and the statistics and evidence to back it up. They know it. So it then becomes, how much airtime can I get before they get sick of me and kick me out? That is what we get today with women. That is what we get. And you're asking me to be okay with that? You're asking me to accept it? You're asking me to advocate for it? No, I won't. I'd rather be a confirmed bachelor. But I'm not, because I was lucky enough to find someone before dating got to where it is. I can't imagine what my boy will go through. But we're gonna have a talk very soon about it, and I'm gonna hit him to the game. And hopefully, some of it will seep in, and he'll be a better person for him. Let's get back into it.
fuck.
And also, bro, changing her mindset, bro, they don't give two shits, bro. They'll leave her and go do whatever they're
She's
going
a
to do
stripper,
anyway.
man.
They don't care.
She's not changing her mind, and she felt that. And remember, caller, like I pressed her because she had kept interrupting for hours.
No, but you say that, right? You say these girls don't care, they're not gonna get it, whatever. But then you'll call them retarded for not understanding the stuff that y'all say, and then y'all get really mad, and then y'all throw the show.
His choice of words they were telling. You call them misogynists. How could women hate women? Although we've proven on this podcast, women don't like them at all because they're competition for them. But there's the sisterhood for you. She may be a jerk, but she's our jerk. Well, I got news for you. If I see she's a jerk, I'm calling her a jerk. It gets no simpler. Let's get back into it.
Well balanced because now you're all these girls are retarded, all these girls stupid, these girls don't understand shit. Like, bro, of course you're not gonna understand it when you're calling them retarded and stuff. Like, you're not.
They
saying
didn't
no way for
understand it
them to
before, bro.
understand it.
But hold on,
So,
they didn't
I don't know
understand
why
it
you're
before.
saying, oh,
They didn't understand it before.
yeah. So like, move on. Like, why do you feel the need to call them retarded and shit like that? Because you said yourself you're not gonna change your mind.
First thing, he doesn't call women misogynists. If anything, they're misandrous. And for those who didn't know, misandry is a definition for the hate, distrust of men. They can't be misogynist because women are on this show. And although I can already hear people saying, well, you can be around people and still not like them, which is true. But I don't think that they would give them the time that they give them if they didn't like them. They oh, they spit game every after hours podcast. If the women were smart, they'd shut up, they'd listen, and they'd apply it. There's a text here. Their dad couldn't change their minds, but you think strangers will. God, that's true. And I'm one of the few people that women will ever meet in their lives that will grab a microphone, speak the truth into it with no ulterior motive. Which is a very fancy way of saying, I ain't trying to hit you. I'm not trying to smash. I'm just not. Because I like what I have, and I don't want to give it up. So no, I'm not gonna. But he didn't say anything about misogyny. And that's what I mean. People will grab onto a word and use it to death and never know what it means. How many people out there actually have heard of misandry? Not very many. Now, how many of you heard of misogyny? All your hands will go up. To quote the late, great Kevin Samuels, you can't make this sit up.
So, what does going back and forth with them and calling them retarded and stuff like that do?
It's funny.
Enough said. It's funny. It's for entertainment.
So you do it for entertainment.
Well, of course, a part of what we do is also for entertainment as well. If they don't get it, then I'm just like, whatever, you're stupid. And I'm a firm believer in telling people that they're stupid. I've talked about this plenty of times. I think that bullying is a good thing, and we need to tell people that they're stupid when they do stupid shit. The problem is that we don't hold females accountable for the dumb shit that they say. So If I'm
but
explaining a
it's a
concept
good
to a
thing
girl
when
for
you
like,
get the reaction
if
that you get.
if I'm explaining something to a girl for the better part of 2 hours and she doesn't get it, well, I think I've pretty much, we've established that this girl is stupid, and I'm just gonna say, yo, you're stupid. It is what it is.
All right, but the reaction you got, right? Because a bunch of girls end up leaving. You had to kick a bunch of the girls off the show. Like you call them retarded and stuff like that is what caused it. So
Time to call a spade a spade. And we'll get back to this in a sec. Time to call a spade a spade. To quote Forrest Gump, stupid is as stupid does. If I tell you, don't grab that, it's gonna hurt you. Don't grab that, it's gonna hurt you. Don't grab that, it's going to hurt you. Don't touch it, it's going to hurt you. Leave it alone, or it'll hurt you. If I tell you that over and over and over again, and you don't get it, what conclusion should I come up with? What decision will I have to make? Jack, this girl is stupid. And that's what he did. And ultimately, she got kicked, aka Frank Castle. And for those who don't know, when you're Frank Castle, you're punished. An ode to the Marvel character, the Punisher. That's why you see in the lower left hand corner, the Death's Head. That's the Punisher's logo. Myron's mug is the bottom half of that logo. But let's continue.
No, dude.
yeah, so that's
From the very
that's part of the
beginning.
reason, you know what I'm
No,
saying.
no, no. But
like,
caller, you're missing the point. From the very beginning, they didn't give a shit anyway. So by default, they're gonna act crazy, be disrespectful. Cool. So now we're gonna press your ass. That's what it is, bro.
Sorry to keep stopping it like this, but that's what Walter said. It comes into a nutshell. They don't care. Women in general, and black women in particular, don't care what we think. Because if they did care, they'd act differently. They act the way they act precisely because they don't care. So if they don't care, why should I? And that's where you get the world famous matching energy argument come into play. I'm going to give you exactly what you give me. If you're looking to be agreeable and just sit down and have a conversation with me, fine. We can sit down, we can have a conversation. We don't have to agree on everything, but we can keep it civil and respectful. If you come at me sideways, I'm going to return that energy. The more belligerent you get, the more belligerent I get. And being that I'm the host and you're the guest, it is well within my rights to disinvite you. okay, you can go now. Which is a nice way of saying, get the French toast off my set. Get out. And again, I'm well within my rights to do that at any time for any reason. Now, what I'll do, and what most of my podcast creators and hosts will do, is we'll give you a reason. We'll give you enough rope to hang yourself with, and then watch you twist in the wind. That's what we'll do. Let's get back.
Yeah, I mean, what you want us to do, like, just because here's the thing, bro. This is what I find very interesting. If I'm nice to the girls, they say Myron's gone soft. What the fuck? But then if I tell girls, yo, you're dumb. Oh, you're too much of an asshole.
You can't win.
It's like, damned if I do, damned if I don't. So at this point, I just do what I want.
Mind you, you're being very.
He does what he wants. Because he can't please everybody. And if you can't please everybody, you might as well then please yourself. If he's too nice to the people, the criticism comes back, he's soft. If he starts kicking people off, now he's a butthole, he's belligerent. He can't win. So why bother? Let's play a new game. Let's play the I don't give two craps game. Let's play the I'm gonna do it my way, and if you don't like it, you don't have to watch game. Because once again, shout out to Howard Stern. If enough people turn me off, I go away. If enough people decided, you know what, we're not going to watch Fresh and Fit anymore, they go away. For the very least, the iteration of Fresh and Fit as they're known today would go away. So they would probably have enough resources to successfully pivot to something else. But the Fresh and Fit as you know it would be no more, which will never happen because those same people who constantly denigrate them and talk bad about them tune into the show. Consistently tune into the show. You can set your watch to it. Shout out to the great Chris Rock. That train's never late.
Patient nowadays
Yeah, because I used to kick girls off literally for 5 minutes in, them being annoying.
To be fair, if that was regular Myron back in the day, should be gone.
I would have kicked them out
before the
immediately,
show.
man. So it's like, bro, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like obviously we have we have different people that watch the show. Some people are like, yes, finally, fucking get this girl out of here. Some people are like, oh, why'd you say that? It's like, bro, some of these girls are just not gonna. They're just not gonna get it, man.
I'll go one in on them, and they said what I said earlier. Shout out to Walter for that. The old Myron would kick him out almost immediately, so he's taking great strides to becoming more tolerant. But the bottom line to all of it is simply this. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Let's go back, and if I get my train of thought back, I'll tell you again.
What would have you done then? You would have just let her sit there and continue to ad lib and be annoying?
No, I mean, nah, it's just like when you debate the girls, right? You cry about how they were tired and stuff like that. But it's like, you're not really giving them or you're not debating in a way that they'll actually understand it because
He's talking in circles. He's talking in circles at this point. And again, he's showing great restraint. Because in the back of his brain now, he's realizing, okay, this guy's talking in circles. He has no valid point. And I want to let him know that he has no valid point, so I'll continue to explain my views to him. In the hopes he'll understand it. But a time is coming where that patience is going to wear thin and then run out. And that's the part of it that most people don't understand. Patience is finite. Patience will get you but so far. There comes a point in a show, in a podcast, where you have to start weighing, is the entertainment value that this guest brings, is it outweighing the negative reactions that we're going to get? In the beginning, no. As Fresh will tell you time and time again, I like her. She's funny. That's comedy. That's entertainment. But then, as it continued driveling and wembling and yelling and arguing and disagreeing, it starts to wear thin. Then you get the okay. Let's just move on. Let's just move on. She's not gonna get it. Let's move on. Until you get to the point where Myron's had enough and says, "All right, you can leave now." You can listen to what I'm saying, or you can leave. And the girl thinking that she's doing something gets up to leave, and he goes, "Bye, get out." And you can tell the difference between Black Ratchet and White Ratchet right off the bat. Because White Ratchet will just get up and leave. Black Ratchet should continue to talk into the microphone. She'll knock something over. All this stuff. All this extra stuff. As I've said before, if you're asked to leave a podcast, get up and go. And on the way out, if you can reach the producer, tell them, I'm sorry things turned out the way they did. Maybe in the future, you can allow me back on. And leave. But no. We can't have that. I'm going to be extra. There was one episode where a black chick is leaving and she's starting to break up expensive equipment. Now I don't know what became of that, but if it was me, I'd be like, all right, you're paying for that. I own you. And I own the fruits of your labor till you pay that off. And I take it to court and everything to do it. Because I don't play. Let's listen to a little bit more of it.
You're speaking in a way that's making that's triggering them, and I guess you do that for entertainment and shit like that, but it's counterproductive. Because
no, man, I just speak in a matter of fact.
Instead,
like the wage gap, bro. The argument was about the wage gap. I was very matter of fact with the wage gap. I said women earn less because they deserve less because X, Y, Z, and I outlined exactly why women earn less and why this wage gap exists. I went systematically through it, and they didn't like it.
Yeah, Myron, but you were saying, hold up. But you saying they deserve less, obviously that's going to trigger an emotional response from them.
Is that not
Because
true?
you saying they deserve less, automatically they don't give a fuck what you gotta say now. Because
Hold on, bro.
you
Hold
saying
on.
they deserve less got them in their feelings.
Let me ask you this: if you take more vacation time off and you work jobs that aren't labor intensive, and you work jobs that are in the social world versus in the industry world, and you don't do infrastructure, and you want to have office job air conditioned, do you deserve more money? Yes or no?
No.
No, but you're missing.
Okay, so
point.
then I said they deserve
Remember,
less.
It's not about what you
Is
say,
that the
it's how you
truth?
say it.
Okay, but it's the truth though.
Hence back to the arithmetic scenario I pointed out earlier in the podcast. It's true. It's true. And Myron is just Myron. He'll tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, not what you'd like to hear, what you need to hear. You can be dumb but quiet, and he'll let you slide. He may every now and then say, "Are you still with us?" You're all quiet. But for the most part, he'll leave you alone. A little bit more.
If you're gonna say they deserve less, they're automatically gonna get mad because you're saying they deserve less.
Caller,
That's not a good
whose
thing
fault
to
is that?
hear.
Yeah, bro. Whose
So
fault
once
is
you're
that?
saying that,
Caller,
bro,
whose
it doesn't
fault is
matter
that?
what you say after that, 'cause
Caller,
you're
keep in
pissing
mind
them
that we also warn them before the show, and we tell them, guys, we're gonna probably say some things that you might not like. This is a very matter of fact podcast, so keep your feelings at the door.
Yeah.
We can't control how they behave after the fact, bro. Some girls get it. That's why they're quiet. Other girls get emotionally and triggered. It is what it is. But we warn them at least on 3 different occasions. Icy warns them when she brings them
Chris,
over the elevator. Chris warns them, and then I warn them again right before we do the show. So, bro, if they can't control their emotions, they're grown adults, man. I don't know what to tell you. If I say women earn less because they deserve less, that's a fact. If they don't like it, they don't like it. But it's the truth.
It's the truth. And I like how they let down the rules not once, not twice, but 3 separate occasions by 3 totally different people. Icy tells them when they come up the elevator. Chris tells them during the pre show, and then just before they start, Myron tells them again. So that's 3 different ways, or 3 different times, I should say, that you're told what's going to happen. And you're also told, according to Myron, you're told that this is a very matter of fact podcast. We're going to say some things that may offend you. We're asking you to leave your emotions at the door. Which I guess is something most women can't do. Because they feel a certain way. Then don't come on. Don't come on. You're so into flaking, but if you notice, shout out to Cooley and No Fugazi. Shout out to I forget his name. The brother that runs Who Hurt You. Shout out to both of them. They get flaked on a regular basis. Why? Because women are in their feelings. And they can't turn them off, and they know they're going to feel a certain way if they're challenged to their worldviews and beliefs, so they don't come on. Fresh and Fit's a much bigger platform. They know they're going to get seen, so they'll risk it and show up. But if there's no risk to their status, they're not going to bother. I'm not going to go on this show where 200-300 people may see me. I'm going to go on this show where 10,000, 15,000 people will see me. They're playing the numbers game. But again, changed my mind. Again, if you have a counterpoint, put it in the comments below. If I like what you say, if it makes me think, I'll invite you on the show. And we'll talk about it. I doubt you will. But here's to hoping. And with that, we close the books on another one. Thank you all for allowing me to speak to you. I want you all to realize that what we do out of love. We do it because we care. We do it because we want you better. We operate in the power of 5. At the very least, like the video on your way out. If you want to continue to support us, consider commenting, subscribing, notifying, and sharing. If you want to go above and beyond that, you could donate to the addresses below. So until the next, this is OBJ. Peace, y'all.